Saltwater Eco Tours is a tourism business here in Mooloolaba. We do saltwater cultural tours where we've got local traditional owners talking about the local Kabi Kabi or Gabi Gabi culture.
And they show us, even today, where our ceremonial circles used to be here on country.
One of our amazing crew members plays the didgeridoo. We focus a lot on food. All of our food is locally sourced, native infused, bush tucker inspired menu, we like to call it. We also do seafood for obvious reasons, being out on the water. We've got the famous Mooloolaba prawns and oysters as well. And we just like to incorporate as much native food as we can into our catering in combination with those traditional stories and then being on an ancient vessel like this as well. It's a really unique experience.
And the man behind Saltwater Eco Tours joins us now. Good morning, Simon.
Good morning, Troy. Thanks so much for having me. Second time round, or third time lucky.
All good, mate. It's not the first time that we've had tech and time issues, but all good, man. You're here now. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very well. Yeah, it's we've got a bit of rain here at the moment. I heard you say that before, so I'll be a lot happier when we see the sun shining.
Yeah, nice. Does that put effect on your business?
Yeah, it does. Rain's probably the hardest thing to deal with for me. It affects the operation of the business, but also just affects the bookings. Not many people are out there wanting to jump on a boat in the rain, so it does affect us. But it's also Mother Nature. We obviously need some rain, so just got to roll with it.
Gutless. I'm sure there's some people out there just like Captain Jack Sparrow or something, just like, it's bucketing down rain. Put me on the boat, chuck me up the top on the mast.
That's something I need to look into, how I can find those clients. Yeah.
The nutters.
That's who I need.
They're a bit bored with just the general safety of it all. They just want to mess it up a bit and have a rocky boat. Those
Get out in the rain.
Like those people that go on the Gold Coast, those theme parks with the pirate ship, they maybe they just want to rock around.
Yeah. Yeah, you might be onto something there. I'm going to look into that.
Bucks parties, all that jazz,
Yeah.
Hey, tell us about your business. Actually, before you tell us about business, tell us about your culture. Your TI mob, is that where you're connected?
Yeah. So, my strongest connection is to my TI mob. I guess that's the connection I grew up with. But I'm Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, so I've got family ties to the Chunganji mob up north, so very close to the Straits as well, and Kawareg mob. So I've got family from Murray Island, Horn Island, and Thursday Island. But I grew up here on Kabi Kabi or Gabi Gabi country. So this has always been home. So it's been a really nice journey for me to be able to connect with the traditional owners here and be able to be involved in this cultural journey, I guess, on the place where I was born, and create that connection. Hopefully, I can keep that for my daughter as well.
Have you noticed that since starting your business, and I guess where were you placed culturally, and being a First Nations business owner myself and trying things, it doesn't always get met with. I mean, it's a great idea on paper, but sometimes our cultural connection isn't as strong as what we'd like to be. It's a bit nerve-wracking. You get your own mobs going, hey, what are you doing? Where do you pop up from? Especially when you're doing something really public and it might work, and maybe you're tapping into some local government promotion. They're like, oh man, you're selling out, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Was that how did you deal with that when you came up with this idea and thought this would work? And then, did that come into play, those challenges?
Oh, definitely. It still does. I think that's always going to be a challenge for us as First Nations business owners. It's something you've got to navigate through. There's always sensitivities. There's always that nervousness, that risk, and it might only be something in ourselves, but it's always something I'm thinking about. And I guess how I tackled it, I knew I wanted to do something authentic and true to my roots, and I wanted to make that connection real as well. I think I've just tried to stay true to my vision, and be open and transparent with everyone that I interact with, and just try and not sell out. It's a fine line as well, and especially for a business like what I'm trying to do. We're a tourism business, so we're we need to be public. We need to be out there. We need to be showing what we're doing. And it's a really fine line to create that, authenticity and not be too commercial. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge along the way. But I've found that just being open, honest, and transparent with everyone, and maintain those connections and prioritize that connection with who we're trying to connect with, which is the community, with the traditional owners, and with my own mob as well.
What are some things that are really special about Kabi 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 Kabi? Is that the same tribe? Is that two ways of saying it? Is that why you say both?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just two different ways of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah, you got some things to share about that. I mean, we're way down south we're more Murray River, and that's about as close as we get to the water. A few carp and
yeah.
It's a different game up in the ocean. Tell us a little bit about of the particular things that you are connecting from your culture, and also how it kind of translates onto a cruise.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess the most special thing for me has been the similarities in the culture from my background. As I said, I grew up here, so my country is from up north, but being saltwater people, the connection here with the saltwater people has been amazing to look back, and also it's enabled me to reach out and find more of my extended family that I never would have. Obviously, you're probably the same. Having a business, the family all come out of the woodworks. And
go Kaz, go
really
Kaz.
Good.
He's my Kaz.
Yeah. And
are we?
You connect with all the mob. With the Kabi Kabi mob, with us, being on the coast, and I guess being out on the water, it's kind of like the what my heritage is of being seafarers. And up in the Torres Straits, a lot of my ancestors were seafarers. Owned the Torres Strait Islander pearl lugging boats, being out on the water, and that's for generations and generations. I can see that. So being here, it's kind of like that infusion of combining my background and showcasing the area here of the Kabi 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 region. It's kind of a nice mix of those two cultures. I'm providing the platform, and we're out on the water, and it makes me feel nostalgic, and makes me feel like I am maintaining that true connection of my mob, and making this new connection of where I've grown up here.
Oh, it's fascinating. I love it. I absolutely love it. So what's a tour? Tell us what goes on these boat cruises, these beautiful experiences that you.
Yeah, definitely. Tour, saltwater cultural tour. We're going out on the boat. It's a 2-hour cruise, heavily focused on food. So we've got a 5-course canapé style lunch. It's an 11:30 departure, so we sort of time that with lunch. There's a lot of gourmet food, which is always a talking point. Sharing culture, sharing food. So we have a good feed. No one goes home hungry. We cruise around the area, and talking about some of those culturally significant areas as we go through them, and I guess the contrast on talking about history and the development, and what these places used to look like. So it's a real educational experience as well, and we do get a lot of school groups on board at the moment, which has been really nice to have that interest of schools wanting to reach out and learn about the the traditional history, the true history, the Aboriginal history of the area. We so a lot of food involved. We've got a bar on board. So we've got for those who want to have a drink, we've got non-alcoholic, we've got alcoholic drinks, but we've got a cocktail menu that is, it's all native ingredients. So quite an extensive menu that's, combining all of those native things into cocktails and mocktails. And, it's kind of a huge part of the experience, I think, is the food, all the natives, the bush tucker, and a lot of the stuff from down where you guys are as well. We're buying a few suppliers from Melbourne Bush Foods down there.
Ah, cool.
So that's the main experience. It's the saltwater cultural tour. we do sunset tours with live music as well. And we also just do a lunch cruise where we're just doing 2 hours of just bush tucker and seafood, a little bit of the yidaki, and just going for a relaxing cruise through the river.
It sounds fun. What's your experience in terms of all those things? I mean, they are all skill sets in themselves: food, cocktail, sharing your culture. And then you got the admin side. I mean, anyone that started a business in any platform, you usually got a great idea, and then you are completely overwhelmed with realizing that you've got to all of a sudden do it all.
Yeah.
Have you got
100%.
some back end experience of any of these already in play, or did you have to learn completely fresh? And maybe talk about your team and the people that have influenced kind of getting the menu right, and who are some of the people that you've had to work with?
Yeah, definitely. So I come from a background of construction.
Yeah,
I've worked in marine construction. I've always been on the water. I grew up on a boat. Always been sailing. Always been old timber boats. But I worked as a commercial diver in construction, oil and gas, for about 12 years before starting this. So completely different. The only resemblance was being on the water, really, which hasn't helped all that much in starting a business.
At least the boat's not going to sink.
Had to learn everything from scratch. So, basically do a business degree on the go whilst trying to run a business, I feel.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, it's a huge learning experience. But I feel like I've been lucky to have a lot of people advise me, and a lot of help from IBA as far as that support. IBA were kind of the initial ones in the advice, and connecting me with a lot of people in that area, tourism, marketing specialists and things like that. So I've got a lot of thank yous to give to IBA for doing that, connecting me with all the right people in the industry, and it's been a huge help for sure.
Tell us a little bit about the history of this beautiful restored traditional sailing vessel that you actually use. Some great information on your website, which not only just talks about the history of the food inside, but in your domain, the boat side. Tell us a bit about the boat.
Yeah, so I really wanted to. My vision was always to have a boat that has a real history, a real story. So when you step on for these cultural tours, and we're talking about history, we're talking about culture. We're not on a modern day boat with, that's made out of plastic. I wanted something with a bit of depth. So when I came across this, the Spray, she's over 100 years old, built out of timber. She was built down your way. She was built in Victoria in the Gibson Lakes. Sailed up here about 10 years ago. But yeah, she was built as a first boat. A replica of the first boat to sail solo around the world. So she had a huge amount of history. Once I found her, I knew straight away. I fell in love with the boat, and I knew that was the one.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but it needed a lot of work. It wasn't as simple as that. So we had to do a full restoration, complete refit on the boat, get it into commercial survey. So that was a massive project. That was about a 12-month project. And yeah, it's been a huge journey. I mean, a boat that old, built out of timber, is maintaining something like that is a full-time job on its own.
Sure.
So it was kind of what we were talking about before, starting a business, learning how to do all the marketing, administration, everything else. At the same time, I was trying to learn how I can keep this boat afloat and get it restored enough to get it into commercial operation. So there was a lot of sleepless nights for sure.
It looks awesome. I'm looking at some of the food. So you got tours on at the moment, but I mean, when you started, I think it says 2020. I mean, it's a bit of a dangerous time to be starting a business. Did you start it? I'm just going to assume that you didn't start it whilst COVID started.
It was about 2 weeks before the first lockdown of COVID.
Rock and roll.
So
was there any murmurs? Was there murmurs at the time when you were starting the business going, hey, there's something going around up in China that might come down here? There'll be old Wuhan.
Yeah, but it was kind of like, because it was such a long lead up time.
Yeah.
I was almost 2 years in the development of the business model. then that all that time restoring the boat as well. So we'd set a date. I'd taken out a business loan. It was kind of the point of no return, and I'd just thrown everything in and gone all in on starting the business. And then those little murmurs about what was happening, I was kind of, that's nothing like that has happened before. So I didn't think too much about it. But sure enough, 2 weeks after starting, we had that first lockdown. So couldn't have timed it better.
So if someone's travelling up to Mooloolaba, that's where you are, which, remind me, is that it's further north of Brisbane by how many hours?
Just 1 hour north of Brisbane,
It's not too far. So if you're in Brizzy, you could duck up and organise a tour. What would you suggest, say, for a family group, maybe a group of 5? How do they? What do they look for on your site?
Yeah, we've got family packages there available. So on the website, you can see all the tours live there. You can see live booking. So cultural tour, lunch cruise, sunset tour. We've got that comedy cruise coming up as well. You can see the availability on the dates. So you can just click on the date there, see how many seats are left.
Just clicking on your result.
And then book straight away on the website there.
Clicking on your rissoles here, mate. Rissoles. They're not rissoles. What do you call them? Like, they clearly are rissoles, but what do you call them on your boat?
Kangaroo cofters.
The old kangaroo cofter, eh? The old cofter. Nice here.
Yeah. No, the menu's constantly developing. So we've turned those kangaroo cofters into a 12-hour slow-cooked pulled kangaroo taco at the moment, which is really popular. We've got a bush tomato relish, some coleslaw, and the slow-cooked kangaroo on a taco, which has been a real favourite at the moment. I think that'll hang around for a while.
Fantastic. I mean, people are heading up there probably most likely in holidays as well for the tourism. You got a Christmas light tour? Is that going ahead?
Yeah. So we've got that one starting around Christmas. So
check that out.
All of the boats are lit up for the Christmas light tours, but also all the houses. There's a lot of all the houses around the canals there. They get a bit competitive with the lights, so it gets pretty spectacular. So that's a lot of fun for the kids.
Is it like a what's it called, that white night? Is it not just you're running the Christmas light thing? It's something that the community gets involved.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, everyone gets involved, and there's actually a boat parade as well. So all of the boats will go in one parade, and it's a big competition. So they have all the boats compete, all the houses compete, and it's a really great thing for the community.
Man, I'm really loving this. I'm sure lots of people in our chat room. It always skyrockets around 7:30 when we've got a guest. So I appreciate you jumping on, man. I know it's an hour behind for you.
Hey, no worries at all. Thanks for having me, Trey. It's absolute pleasure.
It sharpens you up, I find, when you get up early and you have interviews.
It does.
You're hopefully bouncing around. Hey, I'm just looking at the Saltwater Eco Tours. So if anyone wants to go check out more info of what Simon's talking about, saltwaterecotours.com.au. It's a great site. It's got all the cruises, all the packages there. It's very, very, very well priced, FYI. If you're thinking those cofters are going to be too expensive, it's not. It's not.
Okay. They are. Cheapest cofters going around, I'd say.
This is great. 1 hour cruise. I'm looking at this Christmas light. 1 hour cruise for the Mooloolaba canals. Intimate setting with room to view the Christmas lights. Fully licensed bar. Grazing platters on board. BYO food options. You can BYO too.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Wow. Very, very open-minded, but that's very inclusive. I'll be like, get your hamburgers away from you, mate. Go the cofters.
Look, not many people do BYO. We've got an amazing chef on board. Our food is really great and really affordable, so it doesn't happen all that often. But if people want to bring their own food, they're more than welcome.
Sounds good, mate. What's on for today? You got your t-shirt on. You taking it off and getting you back in your pajamas, or you getting stuck into plugging up that boat?
Yeah, no, exactly right. I'm straight down there. Maintenance day today, so a few jobs to tick off, and getting ready for a couple of cruises tomorrow.
You're a legend, mate. Thanks heaps for joining us, and I'll be sending over as many people as we can when we head up north once those Jetstar flights come out.
Thanks so much, mate. Thanks for having me. You enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, mate. Thanks for again.